Hello everyone, my name is Dalton and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about the books that I have actually managed to read this year. So I've mentioned in quite a few videos, not that I've posted a whole lot on this channel, that I've just been in a huge reading slump just because of things that have been happening in my life. I've also just been going out with friends a lot more than I used to and that sort of stuff, so I'm just like readjusting. I've been in kind of a reading slump. I just haven't been able to really like sit down and read for long periods of time like I used to and that sort of thing. So I haven't really been making a whole lot of videos because I haven't really been reading enough to like post like TBRs and like wrap ups and that sort of thing. What kind of wrap up is one book, you know what I mean? But since February when all of this started, I have managed to read like 20 books, I think, which is quite a few. I mean, it's not a small number compared to like what a normal person reads every year. Um, so this is kind of just like a TBR, what I've been reading the past like 6, 7 months. Actually, I guess it's going on like almost 8 months now because it's almost October. But without further ado, let's get into what I've read in like the past 8 months. So when I first got into this slump sort of thing, I really just wanted something that I didn't really have to focus on and I could kind of just read at a slow pace, but still read quickly, I guess, because they're not really hard books to read. And that is the Throne of Glass series. I actually started from the beginning and read books 1 through 6. I did not read either one of the one is a novella set, and then the other one is just a book about one of the side characters who I don't really like. When I first read the series back in like high school, I did read both of those, so I already knew the stories going into this like reread. But I just didn't. I was already in a slump, and I don't remember particularly loving those two, so I did not pick those ones up. Overall, I managed. I think I gave most of the books like 3.5 stars. Nothing really changed from my previous reads. Like my opinions didn't change. I like the story. I think Sarah J. Maas is good at writing a couple different character types. Because I have read most of her stuff, a lot of it does kind of blend and mesh together. It was a fun reread. Like I said, I only picked it up just because I was kind of going through some things and I knew that I could read it without really having any issues, trying to push myself through it. But yeah, it was good. Like a 3 out of 5 stars for the entire series. It wasn't bad. And then the next book that I picked up after I finished Kingdom of Ash, the last book in the Throne of Glass series, was Lie With Me by Philip Benson, I think. Yes, Beeson. Philip Beeson. This was just a short little book that my friend gave me when we went on a trip to Michigan. I did not love this. I thought the writing was interesting. Um, but I didn't like how it was chunked. I just felt like we never got deep enough into a certain scene and then we just changed immediately. I think I ended up giving this one 3 out of stars as well. Didn't love it, didn't really hate it. It just didn't really fully work for me. That's all I really have to say about this. The next book that I picked up after that was These Violent Delights by Micah Nemirover. And I started this while I was on that trip in Michigan. Read like the first 50 or so pages, was loving it. As soon as I got home, I put it down and just didn't pick it up for a while again, though. So over the summer, I kind of just forced my way through this novel, and I knew from the first 50 pages that I was either going to love it or hate this book. And then it just got weird. It got violent. And I mean, I understand it's These Violent Delights, but it was a violence that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And then it just got slow. It got very, very slow. And I think this could have done with some heavy edits and maybe like 100 pages, 50 pages less. And maybe I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I did end up giving it 4 out of 5 stars because I did like it. But like I said, it just got violent in a way that I wasn't expecting, and it did have some pacing issues for me. The writing, though, was fantastic. I loved the writing. The next book that I picked up was Dawn Chart by Brandon Sanderson. I picked this up when I was in Michigan with some friends. as I've said like 6 times now in this video that I went to Michigan. I picked this up and I don't really know why. I think it's because I was told that you have to read the novellas before you can read like the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive. I don't know how true that is, but I am glad that I gave this a shot. I did have quite a lot of fun with this one, particularly. It was short, so that was another reason that I picked it up. I am quite behind on my reading goal for this year. I don't really care at this point. If I hit it, I hit it. If I don't, I don't. But I really enjoyed reading this book while I was spending time at the pool relaxing out in the sun. I think I gave this one 3 or 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, enjoyed it. Wasn't my favorite Brandon Sanderson of all time, but I wasn't really expecting a novella to be. The next book that I picked up at the pool was Lana Del Rey's collection of poems, Violent Bent Backwards Over the Grass. I did not love this. I love Lana Del Rey. I am a super fan. I've seen her in concert. She's one of my favorite artists of all time. I love the way that she writes song lyrics. I think it is quite poetic. However, whatever she does to write poetry is not how she writes song lyrics. And that's all I'm going to say. I think I gave it maybe 2 stars. I don't think I gave it 3 stars. I know I didn't give it 3 stars. I want to say 2, maybe 2.5. Didn't love it, but it was super short again, so I got through it in like less than a couple hours, maybe 2 hours. I will say some of the poems are quite long, and that was another thing that I didn't really love about it. I already don't love poetry, so like having to sit there and like read 6-page poems is not it for me. So didn't love her though. The next book that I read is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This was my first Grady Hendrix novel that I ever read, and I did not like this. I thought it was quite slow, honestly, and I didn't really care about any of the characters. And I didn't like the setting. I didn't like anything about this book, and what I really didn't like was the ending. I believe I gave this book 2 stars. I would love to give one of his other novels a chance just because I'm not really huge into the horror genre, but I did see some potential with this character, like with this novel. Plus his book covers are all beautiful. The one that's like a VHS, I think it's My Best Friend's Exorcism or something. They're all such beautiful books and covers and stuff, but I really just did not love this story at the end of the day, and that's about it. After that, I picked up Edge Dancer by Brandon Sanderson also. Again, I picked it up just because it was short. I knew I could get through it pretty quickly. I think I read it in like a day and a half at the pool. And that was because I picked up something else in the middle of it. I didn't like this one as much. I think I still gave it 3.5 stars, but I did not like it as much as Dawn Shard. I really liked the main character when we seen her perspective in the Stormlight Archive, but I felt like it just got kind of repetitive here, and I didn't like the story as much. I didn't really like what happened as much. I don't know, I just felt like it was a little slower, almost like Brandon Sanderson just didn't have a fully fleshed idea. Not saying that this wasn't a fully fleshed idea, but more happened in the other one than in this one. So I'm not sure why this was necessary to be published, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, didn't love it as much. Still good though. Brandon Sanderson's great. I read it. I think I gave it 3 stars. Then after that, I read Husband Material by Alexis Hall. I did not like this book either. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars, maybe 2.5. I liked like the first half of it when they were just going to different people's weddings. And I was annoyed a little bit that they were just going to different people's weddings and it wasn't just theirs. But I did like the main character and the love interest, their interactions and stuff. But the ending was awful. I hated the ending so much. And I didn't love the first book either. So I don't even know why I picked this up, other than I was just kind of in the mood for like a gay romance. In a slump, kind of just want something fun, nothing too serious. But yeah, did not live. I think I gave it 2.5, maybe 3 stars if I was feeling generous. And then after that, I did kind of want to pick up something more serious just because like I had a lot of duds, honestly, like in a row. So I just wanted something that I knew I would instantly love. So I picked up Sula by Toni Morrison, and instantly I was in love with this novel. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think this might be one of the fastest reads that I've actually done this year. I read this also in like a day and a half. And obviously, it's not super long. I think it's only like 170 pages. But I got some beautiful quotes and writing and tabs up in this thing. Toni Morrison is probably my favorite author of all time. So, like I said, I knew I was going to love this book. Um, she's very, very rarely let me down. But it was so good. One of my favorite books that I've read this year. And I'm glad that I picked it up. And then after that, I read Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Marie Rilke. I don't remember how to pronounce his name, and I can't find my copy anywhere, so I'll just throw a picture up on the screen somewhere. This is basically just his letters to a man who wants to be a young poet. He's talking about creativity, inspiration, writing, that sort of stuff. It's super short too. I think it's only like 70 pages. I ended up giving that 4 out of 5 stars as well. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It was my first time reading like nonfiction, because it is technically nonfiction, in a long time, but I did very much enjoy it. The next book that I picked up is actually a manga. It's Goodnight Poon by Inio Asano, maybe. Me and a friend read these together. She actually introduced me to them. They are insane. They are a crazy time. This one was nothing different than the other ones. It was insane. A lot happens. It's very dark for a manga. Because at least for me, when I think of manga, I think of like Naruto or One Piece, which are very light. This is not it. This is very adult. It's got very, very adult, dark themes. It was good. I gave it 3 stars. I picked up the other one, but didn't end up having time to finish it. But I did enjoy this. So the next book I picked up was actually the best book that I've read this year, and that is Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. I freaking love this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I don't even know why, honestly. I loved the romance. Even though I've seen a lot of people complain that this book is sold as a romance, when in reality, it's kind of like a space opera, space drama with a romance subplot. However, that romance subplot was just enough romance for me to love this novel. Also, it's gay. It's a gay romance subplot, which I love. Everything about this novel worked for me, including the space drama and everything. I really, really love this novel. I read this while I had COVID also, so please pick it up. Pick it up. I loved it. I'm sure somebody else out there is going to love it. Pick it up. Then I finally got to my reread of The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and I actually appreciated this book a lot more than the first time I read it. The first time I read it, I believe I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I did have some issues with it. This time around, I don't know if it's just because I knew how the story was going to be told, and that sort of stuff. Had no issues. I loved every bit of it. Loved it all. I can't recommend her enough, honestly. She's one of my favorite fantasy writers of all time. Like, honestly, love Brandon Sanderson, but she's up there now after I've read quite a bit of her work. I've read all of the first series of hers. I don't remember what they're called off the top of my head. I've read The City We Became, which I want to reread this year now too. And I am like 3/4 of the way through the second book of this series as well. And damn, she does it. Every book, she does that. Loved it. After that, I actually picked up the first volume of the One Piece manga. I work from home every day, and like I just like having something in the background while I like do my work, like something on my computer so I can like watch TV. So a long time ago, like right after I graduated college, I started One Piece, and I got like 500 episodes in or something like that. And I just remember not being super interested at the time and just pausing it. I was also like looking for jobs and that sort of stuff. So I restarted it and I've watched all of it now. It's like 1,000 something episodes long. I think I have a couple more episodes of sub left, but I watched all of dub, like one episode after another, like 900 episodes down in probably a month, maybe a month and a half. I do sit at home every day for like 8 hours a day and do nothing but watch TV. So like it's explainable, but it sounds crazy. So I read the first manga and it was great. I loved it. I already knew the story. The only difference is that they call Zoro Zolo for some reason. I don't know if that's going to get changed in later editions of the manga, but it was great. I loved it also. And then after I finished that, I actually picked up another graphic novel called Fences, which I heard about a long time ago. I believe it's gay as well. Basically, it's about a boy who goes to a boarding school and is on a fencing team. There's already, after the first one, an arch nemesis. And I think that arch nemesis may be the love interest later down the line. And I'm excited to continue on with the series. I will say not a lot happened in the first one. It was only like 100 pages, but I did enjoy it, so. All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are all the books that I have actually read this year. Beginning of the year, obviously, I think you can tell from my ratings. I just don't think I was in a great place to be reading. So like everything that I did read was either like a 3 stars. I gave one book in like the first half of the year 4 stars. But what do you do? After that though, and specifically in the past couple months, I've had, I would say, a pretty great time reading. I gave 5 stars to a novel. I've read a couple different things like manga and graphic novels and that sort of stuff. Currently listening to an audiobook. I'm just trying to vary things up and read some different things and have fun. But so far, I think I'm accomplishing things well. Hopefully I can get moving on TBR. I have been reading a little bit more than I was, so it shouldn't be too challenging. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. Bye.